Hello and welcome to this how to play video on Age of Alchemy. Today we are looking at concoctions. In front of us we have one alchemist from each of these 6 disciplines, and in front of them is their special number that should they roll that when rolling for concoctions, they get to choose from one of the other 5 available to them. We have Helga, who is from the Council of the Cold Knight. We have an alchemist from the Cleansers of the World, one from the Followers of Nature's Bounty, one from the Long Drawn Death, one from the Mysteries of the Dark, and finally Hands on the end, who is actually an alchemist for the Spark of the Free People. Having rolled her 66, we can see that Helga has a 2, which would be a Frost Trap, 3, which would be a Numbing Icicle, and then 3 4s, which would be Ice Walls. In addition, she also has an Old One's Perfection, which is this number 1 here. So in that case, we could take this number 1 and turn it into any of the other 5 numbers from the ones that she has available to her. I'm going to change this to a 5 to give her a Glacial Shield. To get a bit of a better spread of choices, I'm also going to use the melding option to take 2 of these 4s and turn them into a 6. In this case, we now have all of the choices available to Helga at the start of the game. Helga is going to use her Solidify, which has a 3-inch range. So she would pick a model within 3 inches. In this case, it would be the Long Drawn Death alchemist that stood here, and then follow out the rules, which would be rolling a d6. On a 3+, this model would become solidified. That means that until the end of the turn, they would be unable to charge into combat or shoot. Very handy if they're going second. Finally, if that model were to take a wound before the turn is up, then they would be shattered and removed from play completely. In this example, we have Hans, who is an alchemist from the Spark of the Free People. He is going to use his number 2, which is a Steel Bullet. In this case, it is treated as any other ranged weapon, such as a bow or crossbow, so he would need to see if his target is getting the benefit of cover and what range they are at. Also, penalties for if Hans himself has already moved. The advantage to this is that these one-use ranged weapons can be used for reactions as well. So Hans, if this was in the movement phase and he was going second, could use his Steel Bullet to react against this alchemist before they moved in the movement phase. In this example, we can see that this alchemist here from the Cleanser of the World is trying to deter Helga from charging into her. She is going to therefore use the number 4, which is a Firewall. First of all, she would pick a point, which is going to be this point right here, just in front of the wall, and then roll a d6. Let's say she gets the number that she needs, and thus places this wall with the center point resting on the point chosen. Helga can still charge, but if she does so, she would have to charge through the firewall, potentially taking damage on the way in. Lastly, in this example, we are going to look at area of effect concoctions. This alchemist here from the Long Drawn Death is looking to throw a bloated fly globe into Hans and his 2 fellow pirates. This would be the number 6 concoction, and as detailed in the rules, we would pick a point within 6 inches, so it can go nicely there in the middle. In this case, I'm using the number 1 pip on a dice to signify the point chosen. Then they would roll a d6. On a 3+, it would go off. Let's say in this case, it does. Now what we would need to do is work out which models, friend or foe, were within 3 inches of that point. The alchemist, as you can see, is not, but all 3 of Hans's friends and Hans himself are in the radius. As such, we would then roll the dice for each of them, and on a 4+, they would take a wound as detailed in the concoction. And that concludes this video on concoctions. Join us next time where we will look at picking forces and setting up a game.